had a lot of features that other bigger bikes had. Not to say that a bigger bike couldn't do this. I mean, of course, I would have gotten a BMW S1000RR. The CFMoto 675 is a great motorcycle, but why did I choose to get this over pretty much anything else? We're going to talk about that in today's video. Let's jump right into it. It's a beautiful day. Actually, it's kind of cloudy up in Southern California, but that's fine. I don't mind a little bit of clouds. It's been really hot. Oh, risky move. Was able to pull it off. So as we're pulling up to one of my favorite theme parks in Southern California, Knott's Berry Farm. If you guys want to check out my other channel where we do a whole bunch of spooky stuff, it's always linked down below. Knott's Berry Farm. We just went to the event there. I'm so excited. So much stuff going on. But yeah, this motorcycle, and one of the big reasons why I did get this thing is because we live in Southern California. And living in Southern California, you can lane split. That is for sure one of the biggest things. So before this motorcycle, I had another motorcycle, my KTM 890 Adventure. It was a much bigger bike. And honestly, I love that bike. I talked about it ad nauseum at this point in time on the channel. But for sure, that motorcycle was fun. But I feel like the biggest factor for me was wanting to get into another sport bike, something that was smaller, more nimbler, something that it would be a better bike for the city, and something that could be smaller that you can lane split without having too many issues and things like that. I know what you're going to say. Okay, just because you got a smaller bike, that still doesn't tell us why you got this over everything else. And you're right. One of the biggest factors was getting something that was going to be smaller for sure, a little bit more nimbler that I can get through traffic with whenever I wanted to drive this motorcycle. Now, it's not to say that a bigger bike couldn't do this. I mean, I see people driving Harleys and Goldwings and everything like that out here. But even getting a leader bike, they are slightly bigger. Now, my perspective is I've driven bigger bikes. I've had a Gixxer 750, had a Gixxer 600. Even the KTM 890 is a bigger bike than this, as far as displacement and as far as horsepower goes. So I do know some people, they're kind of like, oh, these bikes, they're small, they're like not as powerful, and that is true. They're not as powerful as a normal 600cc inline 4. The inline 3 is still a quick bike, but a inline 4 like a ZX6 will beat this off the line. That wasn't really necessarily my biggest concern. My biggest concern was what was going to be something that's going to be the most usable and the funnest thing to drive. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what something can do on paper if you don't want to drive it. The other big thing I do want to mention is, if money wasn't a factor and I can get anything, I mean, of course I would have gotten a BMW S1000RR. I would have gotten a H2. I mean, heck, if we're talking about it, or a Fireblade. Trust me, I would have found a way to make that work. But being realistic with myself and being like, okay, what's the most bang for your buck? I want something that's going to be a sport bike that's going to be fun to drive, and it has a lot of the big bike features. And you know, it was going to be just a cool bike to just own. Because now, full transparency, when I was first looking at getting a motorcycle or another motorcycle, I actually was looking at a couple different other options. I was looking at actually pre-owned stuff, looking at like MT-07s, MT-09s. I did take a brief look at some of the ZX6s and things like that. So I was open to pretty much anything. I'm not really brand loyal to like many brands and things like that, even though I will say I have bought multiple Dodge Rams and Jeep Wranglers, so I guess I am a little bit, you know, partial when it comes down to Fiat Chrysler stuff, Stellantis. But when it comes down to motorcycles, like I said, man, I've had Gixxers, I had the Suzuki KTM, I have a KLX 300R, also have a the Honda CB500F, which is my wife's bike. But yeah, so it's not like I'm like brand loyal to anything. I was really looking at multiple different options, but the biggest thing for me is the bang for buck. This motorcycle had a lot of the big bike features, so things that you would find on other motorcycles. This guy sees me, thank you, good sir, for not, thank you. You know, it had a lot of features that other bigger bikes had, and to me that was worth a lot of it. Like I said, when I first was just looking, I mean, it is kind of funny because I wasn't even 100% sold on necessarily even selling the KTM and getting something else. I like quite literally was doing a video like the night before saying like I was just kind of like indecisive, and then like that day, it was like the next day I was like with my wife, I was like, hey, let's just go up to the motorcycle shop. I just want to like take a look at what they have in stock. So I was like literally like looking at a lot of different stuff. I wasn't even like fully sold until I was in the showroom floor and I looked at this in person. Now I've seen some other people make some content on these things, seen some people make some videos and things like that, so I've had a general idea of what they were. And even at one point in time, I was looking at the smaller ones for my wife. I was like, oh, that might be a cool like smaller bike if she wanted to get something different than the CBF 500. I was like, that might be cool for you. So I had like a general idea of what they were, but it wasn't until I got into the showroom floor and I saw it, I was like, oh, that's what that is. That thing looks really cool. And then after sitting on it and sitting on other motorcycles, like I said, I sat on other motorcycles, looked at a lot of other ones. That's when I was like, oh, okay, this looks a lot better in person. And then truly seeing the features that it had with my own eyes, seeing the steering stabilizer, which I know some people don't really care about that. To me, that was one of the big things. I was like, okay, cool, actually I do want that, because I want something that's going to be, I can tighten up the steering, make it a little bit more, you know, stiff for if I'm on the highway going for long distances and things like that. Because that was one of my problems with the KTM. I was just like, okay, cool, this thing did not feel very steady when I was on the highway going long distances. So having that on here, that was a big, you know, for me, that was like a big selling feature. I was like, okay, cool. It has a steering stabilizer that's stock. It has the brake cooling. It has the quick shifter. Even though it's only quick shifting up, that still is like very, very cool to have. So these are features that you would get on other things. Like my KTM had the quick shifter and things like that. So I was like, okay, cool. And for the price proposition, it made it worth it. So pretty much what I sold the KTM for is pretty much what I got this bike for. So I think like MSRP, like before tariffs and things like that, I think they're like 6 or 7 grand, something like that. So as far as like a brand new motorcycle, that's really, really good, considering some of those other bikes that were like being sold, you know, pre-owned were definitely way more than that. Getting a ZX6, I mean, I think they're like literally like double. I want to say they did like 12 or like 14, something like that. And even getting them pre-owned, because I did look, they were still like very expensive. Don't get me wrong, as far as performance and everything like that, it's a better bike. It's an inline 4, more displacement, and not even displacement. It's just like has a whole extra cylinder. It's a faster motorcycle, more performance-based motorcycle. But if you're just like, cool, what's the most bang for your buck? These bikes, they make great options. And especially now, I'm not looking to just go out there and try to race everyone. Like, that's not just necessarily like what I want to do anymore. When I was younger, I was like, oh yeah, I want the biggest bike I can get. I don't care if it has any features. My old motorcycles were literally like a 2000, 2001. They had nothing, like literally nothing, just a tack and your speedo. No gas light, no gear. I mean, motorcycles nowadays, they have so much stuff. This thing has traction control, tell you what gear you're in, you know, your gas gauge and everything like that. Like, yeah, bikes back then did not have that. So for me, I'm like, no, yeah, cool. Whatever has like the most features and things like that is like the thing that I kind of want. Of course, if money wasn't an option, would I have gotten a bigger bike? Yeah, 100%. I would have gotten a much bigger bike. But I'm also like, I don't necessarily need it, especially now. So I think if you have that same mindset, I think this makes a great option. But speaking of making a great option, check out this video on the screen. This is going to be the video where I was talking about trading in the KTM 890, what issues I was having with that, and why I chose to kind of go with this thing. Check this video out.